The nation of Israel is going through one of the hardest times of its history. Am Israel is divided with regards to this agreement with the Hamas. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should we continue? Should we not? You have rabbis, you have leaders, you have professors, you have from all walks of life, people weighing in on both sides. Some feel it's a disaster. What message does it give terrorists? It's going to encourage people to do terrible things because they know they'll be released in the next deal. On the other hand, you have people who state Pidyon Shvuim, releasing captives is the biggest mitzvah in the Torah, and therefore it doesn't matter the price, you have to pay it. And it seems to me, in discussing this with people, that some people feel I'm a good person, if I'm a loving person, if I'm a person who wants peace, if I care for others, then I have to be on the side of the deal. And if I'm a person who doesn't believe in this deal, it means that you or I are extremists. And I think let's look in this week's parasha to glean, to get some inspiration. This week's parasha, Vaeira, tells the story of Moshe and Aharon going to Pharaoh and demanding they should release the Jewish people from Egypt. And the Torah tells us that they take a staff. Aaron takes a stick and he throws it onto the floor and it becomes a snake. And the Egyptian sorcerers do the same thing, and then Aharon's staff swallows their staffs. And from this small episode, we can pull out two very important messages which I feel are strongly connected to this debate. You see, the first thing is that who's the one that throws the staff on the floor and it becomes into a snake? It's not Moshe, it's Aharon. And why? Most of the other stuff is done by Moshe. And it's very famous with the first two or three plagues, Aaron does it, not Moshe because of gratitude. Moshe doesn't want to hit the water because he was in a Moses basket, it saved his life. And so too with the other miracles. But why here with the staff? Why is it Aaron and not Moshe? And the rabbis explain that Aharon was depicted as a man of peace. Ohev shalom verodef shalom. Whereas Moshe was more of an extremist, he was a man that stuck to his truth. Hashem wanted Aaron to throw the staff because Hashem wanted to teach us that sometimes even the man of peace has to do something different. He has to have confrontation with his enemies and he has to act different to his regular nature. The fact that Aaron was a loving, kind person does not mean that when you're dealing with your enemy, he can't be the one who's leading this confrontation. He can't be the one who is now attacking and doing something different to his regular nature. That's the first point. But the second point, I think is even more important, is that the Torah tells us that when does Aaron's staff swallow the staffs of the Egyptians, is only after it turns back into a staff, so not as a snake. So the miracle was double. It's not like the snake swallowed the other snakes, but rather all the snakes became back into sticks, and then Aaron's staff, his stick, he swallowed the others. And what does this teach us? The Torah wants to teach us something which is amazing. Had it been a snake swallowing a steak, then people would say, you see snakes, which represent cunningness, they represent venom, heat. Swallowing another one, okay, that makes sense. People do things in the heat of the moment. Hashem doesn't want it to be that way. Hashem said, no, let the snake turn back first into a staff. A staff represents calmness, represents being firm, thinking about things, like a stick who stands strong. And only then you go and you action against other people. Meaning Aaron didn't do it because he was, at the heat of the moment. But rather, he thought about it collectively. He thought about it with serenity, with peacefulness. And only then he went and he acted against his enemies. And therefore, I think that's the message for us today. Whether we agree with the deal or we don't. Number one, we mustn't be like a snake. It mustn't be out of venom. It mustn't be anger. It mustn't be, I'm right, you're wrong. Rather, you need to think about it calmly. What's right? What's wrong? But number two, we must remember that even if you're a man of peace, Aharon HaKohen, sometimes the right thing to do is the opposite of what would normally be peaceful actions. Sometimes the right thing to do is to go and be harsh with your enemies. So whatever you decide, as long as you know that you're doing it out of calmness, and you know that you're doing it because you want to fulfill Hashem's wishes, that's the most important thing. And I think that that's what we need to stick to when we debate this question. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom.